You think your career begins the day you shake someone's hand, the day you sit across from a manager, the day you finally get to prove who you are. But what if I told you your career could end before any of that ever happens? Not because you failed, not because you weren't good enough, not because you made a mistake, but because something you will never meet, never talk to, never even see, decided you weren't worth considering. A silent system. A hidden gatekeeper, an AI that can erase your future before it even begins. And the worst part? It's already happening. The invisible wall. Every year, millions of people send out applications. They rewrite their resumes. They rehearse their answers. They hope for a chance. But hope doesn't matter anymore. Because in many companies, your application never reaches a human being. It never lands on a desk. It never gets a pair of eyes. It hits a wall, a digital wall, a wall built from code, data, and assumptions. This wall doesn't blink. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't wonder if maybe, just maybe, you're the exception. It just filters, sorts, scores, deletes. And you're left refreshing your inbox, thinking you weren't good enough, when in reality, you were never evaluated at all. How the system thinks. Let's pull back the curtain. These systems don't read your resume. They analyze it. They break it into fragments. Your job titles, your dates, your gaps, your keywords, your education, your patterns. Then they compare you to a model of the ideal candidate. Not a real person, not a real success story, a statistical pattern. If you match the pattern closely enough, you move forward. If you don't, you vanish. No message, no explanation, no chance to defend yourself, just silence. And silence is the cruelest rejection of all. The problem with patterns. Here's the danger. AI doesn't understand potential. It understands patterns. And patterns are built from the past, not the future. So if you took time off to care for someone, that's a gap. If you switched careers to chase something better, that's instability. If you tried something creative, something unconventional, something bold, that's inconsistency. The system doesn't see your courage. It doesn't see your growth. It doesn't see your story. It only sees deviation. And deviation is risk. So the algorithm quietly nudges you aside, not because you can't succeed, but because you don't look like someone who already has. The pre-rejection score. But it gets worse. Some companies now assign you a score before you even apply, a number, a probability, a prediction of your future performance. This score follows you, influences decisions, shapes outcomes, not because you failed, but because the system expects you to. Imagine being judged not for who you are, but for who an algorithm thinks you might be. Imagine losing opportunities because a machine misread your past and miscalculated your future. Imagine never knowing that the door was closed before you even touched it. That's not science fiction. That's hiring in 2026. The scale of silence. Humans make mistakes. Humans change their minds. Humans can be convinced. Algorithms don't. They scale decisions instantly, globally, relentlessly. If the model is wrong, it's wrong for thousands, millions, entire generations of applicants. And no one notices. Because no one sees the rejections. No one questions the silence. No one asks why. The system just keeps filtering, keeps sorting, keeps deleting, and the world moves on as if nothing happened. The human cost. Think about the people who apply for job after job and never hear back. Think about the ones who start doubting themselves, who think they're not talented enough, not smart enough, not experienced enough. But what if they were never evaluated by a human at all? What if their worth was decided by a line of code written by someone who never met them, never heard their voice, never saw their potential? How many dreams have been crushed not by rejection, but by automation? How many careers never started because an algorithm said no, before anyone else had a chance to say yes? The myth of objectivity. We're told AI is objective, fair, unbiased. But AI learns from data, and data comes from humans. Humans with biases, humans with blind spots, humans with flawed histories. So when AI learns from the past, it learns the past's mistakes. If certain groups were overlooked before, the system learns to overlook them again. If certain backgrounds were favored, the system learns to favor them again. Bias doesn't disappear. It scales, and when bias scales, it becomes invisible. and unstoppable. The future we're building. This is the future we're walking into. A future where decisions are automated, where accountability fades, where responsibility dissolves. A future where no one can tell you why you were rejected, who rejected you, or whether anyone rejected you at all. A future where your career can be ended by a machine that never learned to understand you. A future where silence is the new no. The moment of truth. This isn't about hating AI. AI isn't evil. AI isn't malicious. AI isn't out to get you. But blind trust is dangerous. Because when decisions are automated, responsibility disappears. And when no one is responsible, no one can be questioned. We are building systems that decide who gets opportunities and who doesn't, who gets seen and who stays invisible, who gets a future and who gets filtered out. And we're doing it quietly, efficiently, automatically. The final warning. Your career shouldn't be decided by a prediction. Your worth shouldn't be reduced to a pattern. Your future shouldn't depend on whether an algorithm likes your resume. But unless we question these systems, unless we demand transparency, unless we refuse to let machines become the final judges of human potential, this silent gatekeeper will decide more than your job. It will decide your path, your opportunities, your future, and it will do it without ever knowing who you are. So let me ask you something, and answer honestly. Should an AI have the power to decide your career? Or are there decisions that should never belong to a machine? Tell me in the comments, because one day soon, this system might decide for you.